Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Ashley. If you're new here, I make content to help encourage Christian singles. So I just want to welcome you here and hope that you are encouraged, that you find community, and most of all, that God shows you that He loves you, that He knows you, and that He hears your prayers. I don't know about you guys, but I love content where people are kind of sharing their relationship stories, especially as singles, and just seeing how they navigate that. And I really haven't shared a lot at the beginning of relationships on my channel. I've always shared like after effects. But I wanted to share something here because I think it's important to talk about. I think it's important to share, and it is just that God is a God who kind of just breaks everything that you think or that you believe He can do, and I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful that we serve a God who is miraculous. We serve a God who cares about just every detail of our lives, and I wanted to share this in the just beginning phases because I think it's a really cool story. If nothing comes from it, just the fact that God showed me this is something that I want to share, and I don't want to like go weeks without sharing it because it's like here happening now. And so backstory, I am on currently right now 2 different dating apps. I am on Upward, which is a Christian dating app, and I'm also on Hinge, which allows you to kind of like put that you're only interested in dating a Christian, which I really like. Anyways, I have had zero luck on these apps. Like, I know that people like have really strong opinions about apps, and I am just kind of in the camp like, if you're not on it, you know, how are you expecting people to meet you? People don't really meet organically anymore. I'm not saying that they don't, but just in my situation, I work a lot and it's just really hard for me to organically meet someone. Not saying that it's impossible, but just for me, like, I was like, okay, I just want to be on these apps. So if that's not for you, you know, then that's cool. But anyways, I'm just sharing my story. I had gone through this past couple months just really trusting that God has someone for me, really trusting that the Lord is going to bring a man who loves Jesus into my life. And there was like specific things that I was praying for. And so there was this guy on the app, the Upward app, and let's see, he must have swiped on me first, and then when I swiped on him, we matched. And I think I sent him a message and I was like, hey, are you a preacher? Because he had like a picture of him, what looked like to be preaching at a church. And he's like, no, I just like got up and was talking, you know, to people about the Lord for something. I can't remember what it was for. But the one thing I don't like about Upward is like it will give you people who are like way far away, and there's usually not very many people in your area. So when I looked at the distance, I was like, oh man, he's really far away. And I was like, I'm not really crazy about long distance relationships. This isn't something that I'm terribly excited about, but I was just talking to him and we really hit it off. Like, I usually don't get off the app, but he asked if he could text me and I was like, sure. And we just started talking, and within, I want to say like 2 days of talking, he's like, can I come see you? And I was like, yes. Which is crazy too, because I usually am like very hesitant with that. Like I don't know, like long distance relationships, I'm just not a fan of. So I was like, this is weird. I'm not usually like this. But what made me really confident to see him was the fact that when we talked, and this is the first time this has ever happened to me, and I was shook. I was shook because I'm usually the one who initiates this. And I was talking to him, and he, after our conversation, he's like, "Can I pray for you?" I was like, "What?" I was like, "Come again?" And he's like, "Yeah, can I pray for you?" And in that moment, I was like, okay, this is different. Like, this is someone who understands the power of the Lord. Like, this is someone who understands that unless the Lord builds a house, like, you labor in vain. And I was so excited. I was like, yes, absolutely, like, go for it. And it was just a really sweet prayer. Like, I knew it wasn't something rehearsed. It wasn't something that he was forcing. It was something like straight from his heart. And I just really respected that. And so then I was like, this is probably like some type of fluke. And then the next day he's like, "Have you read your Bible today?" I was like, who is this guy? Like, nobody asked me if I read my Bible. And I was like, he is already keeping me in check. And I was like, now you're flirting with me. He's like, what? And I was like, yeah, like, you're flirting. This is how you get a godly woman. Like, she is going to be really attracted by this. And he's like, oh. And he's like, well, I read my Bible this morning. And truth be told, I had not read my Bible yet that day. And I told him that. I was like, no, actually I haven't. I have not read my Bible yet today. And he's like, well, later on tonight you want to read it together. I'm like, yes. And it was just really cool because when he called me to lead the Bible study, he was like, yeah, I kind of planned this out earlier in the day. When I was reading, I saved like one of my reading chapters so that we could go over it together. And I was just like so blown away. I was like totally shocked that there was a man who wanted to lead me spiritually. Like, there was a man who cared more about putting God first when he woke up in the morning to make time for his Bible study, make time for prayer. I was just so in disbelief. Like, I started to feel really convicted by the Lord that I had believed that God had someone like this for me, but it was just so unbelievable of a thing that I just really doubted it. I really doubted. And when I actually saw, like, okay, there's actually men like this, I was like overwhelmed with like conviction. And I just was talking to him and I was like, I don't think you understand how rare this is. Like, I've gone my whole life not having a man that wants to do this, and Christian men who I've dated just never want to do this, and I'm always the one pushing for it. And just to have you being very bold in this and being very intentional in it is just like blowing my mind right now. And it was just really cool. He's like, yeah, I'll fly down to see you. I want to meet you. And so things are crazy. He's going to come and see me. And yeah, like, there's no expectations right now. There's nothing, like, no pressure or anything. But I just wanted to share this video because I want to speak life into the thing that you're hoping for. And I want to encourage you that God hears your prayers. He knows the thing that you are waiting for, and not to get discouraged in that, not to get discouraged in the fact that you've never seen it. And I think for me, like, even if this relationship doesn't progress, the thing that I'm going to take away from it is knowing that God has these type of men. He has men who are sold out for the Lord, who want to follow God, who don't care about what the culture says, who don't care about, you know, what other people are doing. Like, he's going to stand on the word of the Lord. And I just, in my mind, like, I knew that's what I was looking for. I knew that's what I was waiting for, but I had just never seen it. And it's really, really hard to stand and hope for something that you have never seen. And that's why I want to share this video. Like, God allowed me to see it. God allowed me to experience a man like this. And I just feel blessed. I feel that the Lord has given me this to just witness, to be thankful. And that's another reason I wanted to make this video, is just to give glory to God, to be giving praise to him that he is faithful, even when it's a long time. Like, I just think about the Christian walk a lot of times as like long suffering. It's a long season where you're just having to hold on to God. And I feel like that's been a large majority of my life, is just a long season of suffering and holding on to the Lord. But in that, like, it produces perseverance, it produces character, it produces in us a knowledge that only God can provide for our deepest needs. Only God can provide when everyone else lets us down. You know, there's something really powerful about only having the Lord. And so I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to take you guys along for the ride. And I will give an update. And so yeah, I just wanted to share this, and thank you for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day. Bye. Hi, future Ash here. I really did not know if I was going to post this video. I thought a lot about deleting the other one, and it took a lot of prayer, it took a lot of reflection, and I just felt like if I'm gonna be real, I'm gonna be real, and I don't want to not post something just because it's sad or it was hard or it didn't turn out how I expected it to. And if you watched the first part of the video, I was really excited. I had met someone who I just never expected to meet, and that was so encouraging to me. And so yeah, here's the other part of the story. The part I didn't want to share. I'm gonna keep like some things vague just because I don't want to like share his life, but I am going to tell it enough so you guys kind of understand what happened and what happened to this guy. So like I said, he was a super amazing guy, and the one flaw the one flaw is that he had a ex who was like extremely toxic in his life, and just really took advantage of him in a lot of areas. And he had like a chance to, you know, go through healing. He was working with a mentor, and talking with him, like, I just felt really secure that he had just made it through that, made it through just past hurts. And I had actually talked to my mom about it, and I was talking to her because I was like, do you think enough time has passed for him to be healed? And she said, yeah, like, I think from what you've told me about him, he definitely sounds like he's healed, definitely sounds like he has a strong relationship with the Lord. And I was like, yeah, I agree. So the week where he was supposed to come down and see me, his ex showed up to an event that he was a part of, and like, for context, she had not been in his life at all. Like, they hadn't had any contact, and so he didn't talk to her at all. So he had told me about it, and in the back of my mind I was thinking, like, that's kind of weird, you know, but we have exes that pop up into our lives, so I didn't really think a lot about it. So then we kind of have this routine where we would talk at night and then do a Bible study together and then pray together. Well, it was fairly late at night, and we were like talking and we were having like our prayer time, and he was praying for me. And when he was praying for me, a doorbell rang, and instantly, like, in my heart, I knew it was his ex. But he said it was his neighbor. Which at that point, I don't know if he knew or not, so I'm not gonna say he knew. But he ended up, you know, having a situation with his ex where it was extremely emotionally manipulative and just really insane. Like, if you went through something like that, it would be very traumatic, something you'd have to go to counseling for. So I'm not gonna like go into what happened, but it was bad. And so he didn't contact me like for 3 days after that, and like, I didn't really know what had happened. I didn't know, you know, like, if he had just decided like he wasn't coming, you know. It was kind of a weird situation for me. And then finally he ended up texting me and telling me everything that had happened, and kind of just deciding to go back with his ex. And that was really hard on me. I was just really hurt that he picked someone like that after spending so much time like talking about God and talking about just like our goals and things that we wanted to accomplish in life, and just seeing like how she really wasn't any of those things for him. And like, that was really hurtful for me. And I just really spent some time just really like sorrowful before the Lord, really heartbroken, even though like we weren't anything, like we weren't dating. So, and I was like, why am I so upset about this? Like, he wasn't my boyfriend, we weren't official, like, you know, it was kind of no pressure type of deal. And I think after reflecting on it, I was so upset because I had never had that, you know. I had never had someone where they were praying for me. And when I watched back the video that, you know, was at the start, I just like watched myself, and you can just tell like I was really joyful, really expectant, and for the first time I really had felt like this presence of the Lord in my life that was from something else, and the something else was someone praying for me. And I felt his prayers throughout the day. I felt his authority that he had in Christ over situations in my life, and I was like, wow, like, this is what it feels like to have a partner who prays for you. I had never felt that before. I never felt the confidence of a woman covered in prayer, a woman covered in Bible reading. It was unbelievable. And I just remember thinking, like, there is nothing in the world that I could not overcome with someone like this. Like, it would be so amazing. I was like, wow, like, a godly man is such like a blessing. And I think that's what I was most upset about, was the fact that this was something that I had prayed for. This is something that I had been waiting for, and just to see like the choices that were made were really like hard on me, really painful. And when I was, you know, talking it over with the Lord, one thing that God kind of challenged me with is, if you never get this, will you still follow me? Like, will you still be faithful? And of course my answer was yes. And I think that's kind of the challenge as a single, is if you never receive what you're praying for, will you still love God? Will you still be faithful to God? Will you still show up even though other people let you down? And that's why I wanted to continue this video, because maybe you've had someone really let you down, or maybe you've had someone who loved God choose someone over you that really didn't love God. And so then you're left wondering, you know, like, what really was their walk with the Lord if they're allowing someone who doesn't love God like kind of take over. And my only answer to that is, God gives us free will. He gives us a choice. He doesn't force us into relationships, and we have consequences for the choices that we make. And I think that's what we have to hold on to as believers, is we have to be accountable to God for the choices that we make. And it was hard because I didn't really know like what to do. I was just like, okay, I guess I just, you know, let go of this relationship that wasn't really a relationship, but you know, like we had been talking every night and like kind of had a routine at this point. And so it was like, okay, I just have to let it go and let go of like this hope, you know, for this person. And that was also hard. Like, I was like, okay, God, you know, this would have been really awesome. This would have been just like a really good pairing. Like, I could have seen us really going into the future. And I think God met me in that place and said, yeah, you know, but I still love you. I'm still with you. I am going to be your provider, even though you feel hurt, even though you feel abandoned, even though you feel let down and lied to. I am still with you, and I will always be faithful. And even in hurts, God is still faithful. And I think it's really tempting to get mad at God. It's really tempting to blame things on God. And that's what I kind of want to warn you about, like not getting angry or mad at God just because something doesn't go the way that you had planned in your mind. That is not God's fault. Like, it's not something to lose your faith over. It's not something to lose your hope over. It's just something to lay at the feet of God and say, God, like, this was my hope. This was something that, you know, I was excited about, but at the end of the day, I still love you, and I still want to honor you with my life. And that's the encouragement here. That's why I wanted to finish the video. Just to let you know, like, if you're going through something hard, a setback, you know, maybe someone let you down that you cared about, this is an encouragement that you are not alone in that. You're not alone in that pain. You're not alone in that heartbreak. I can empathize with that. I can understand that hurt. And this is just that encouragement to keep going, to remain faithful to the Lord. Even if you never get the answer, will you still remain faithful? Will you still love God? Will you still love others? And will you still proclaim the goodness of the Lord? And honestly, I want to say that I know what the future holds, but I don't. I don't know. I don't know if I will ever receive that. I want to believe for that, but that may never be what God has for me. And if it isn't, I'm still gonna love him. I'm still gonna serve God. I'm still going to remain faithful, because what Jesus did on the cross was enough for me. And I think that's what we always have to go back to as believers when we feel like we're not getting everything that we prayed for, or we're not getting things we deserve. What Christ did for you on the cross was enough. And that should be our driving force of love towards others. That should be our driving force of forgiveness and power within our lives. So I just thank you for watching this video. Thanks for watching the 2 parts. A little bit different than what I usually do, but I just wanted to take you guys along for the ride. And I just pray that this encourages you to remain faithful. I hope it encourages you that you're not alone in hurtful times and disappointing relationships and times when people let you down. You're not alone in that, and just to hold fast to the Lord and recall that he's always been faithful and he will not let you down even in the hard times. So thank you for watching, and I pray that your day is blessed.